Gentlemen, one of the best things you can have in your arsenal is having the ability to regularly fact check people and having the ability to do your own research and come to your own conclusions. Now, there is a lot of knowledge out there, there's a lot of experts out there, and it's very ironic for me to say that. But what I'm inviting you to do is fact check the things that I say, because I do my own research. So I don't mind you fact checking me. However, as with all talking heads on social media, YouTube, you take their word for it at a huge risk. If you use their information as a guide to then dig deeper into a certain topic, then absolutely, that is an absolutely great way to conduct your own research, because it saves you a lot of time. You take their words, you go, I'll fact check them, and if that's valid, then okay, that is absolutely awesome for you to take into your soul and then use that and believe that, whatever it might be. The reason this is so important, right, is, experts in their fields, I use the term experts loosely, but let's say physiotherapists, exercise rehab instructors, and myself previously when I was in the army, not so much to the later parts of my career, but I was limited in the advice in which I could give somebody if they were injured. Because if they were deemed injured, I would not be able to go, do this exercise to make yourself stronger. Because the risk of me making their injury worse could potentially land me in a lot of shit. Now, for the last 2-3 years, I used to still give this advice. Now, I'm at a huge risk because I could have easily been found out for potentially giving risky advice. But that's not just me who would be in that scenario. I can guarantee you most physios would refrain on giving you information. Let's just talk about physios just for 1 second, I'll move on. Physios are general practitioners of injuries. I like to call them GPs of injuries. They use a certain set of systems to guess what your injury is. They'll do a few tests. They may be able to, they can prescribe certain exercises for you to go and do. But at the same time, they're using a process of elimination to kind of figure out where your injury is. And that's the same as what I do as well. However, I know for a fine fact, if you're a physio in the UK on a salary, and you don't really know what the injury is, and you don't really care either because you're on a salary. How much are you going to care? The 10th person that comes through the door and they're coming to you with a knee issue. How much do you care about the nitty gritty of really finding out? And also, how much do you care about putting your reputation on the line in order to make that person stronger? I ask this question because it's tricky for physios, because there's a blame culture at the moment. And if they get it wrong or get it slightly wrong, then that person that came through the door will point the finger, you made me more injured, blah, 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 all this good stuff. And that's a real shame. So it puts the physios in a tricky spot. The advice in which they give is of huge influence, and that either has good intentions behind it, but sometimes it could lead to either a good outcome or a bad outcome. And that's just the reality of the situation. They're using process of elimination and a lot of logic in their thinking to find you the best exercise solutions. But because of this blame culture, they may refrain or they may avoid giving you certain advice because they do not want to be a victim of getting it wrong. And this is very common in these specialist areas of the fitness industry. People are afraid to give really good advice, really solid advice, because they fear the consequences. And why am I saying this? Because, you know what I mean, I'm not afraid. Like, I want to get it right. You know what I mean? Of course I want to get it right. I do my research. I ask the right questions to the right people if I don't know the answers. And then I will give them solutions based off that type of thing. But I don't want to work with injured people. It's just, funnily enough, a lot of the men that are on the longevity program do crazy things day in, day out. An injury every so often is inevitable. And it's important that I have the ability to give advice when the time comes. But all I'm not much different to yous. The only difference is I know what questions to ask the internet. And I'm going straight on Google Scholar and I am searching for, you know, the best pain reduction remedies for a meniscus knee injury. And I'm looking at the protocols in which were conducted in this study, and I'm using them exercises. Bosh. Proven methods. I'm just doing my own research. And it's great because when I do videos like this, not so much today, but you know, a lot of my recent videos, I bring science up to back my statements up. And I really just hope that you have it in your arsenal to do it yourselves as well, because you can get caught out, and if you don't do your own research and then somebody asks you why you believe what you believe, it gets to a point where you don't actually know why you believe what you believe. If somebody asks me why I believe you can reduce chronic knee arthritis pain by 44% in 12 weeks when you're strength training 3 to 5 times a week. If somebody asks me why I believe that, I'll just go, bosh, I'll send them a link straight away. Do you know what I mean? And this goes across any area of life, whether it's politics, economics. Just having that ability to just do your own digging is always the gold standard. Now, if you don't want to do your own research and you want to literally, you know, be taken under somebody else's wing, then obviously this is why, you know, coaches like me end up doing really well, because that going away and doing the research and immersing yourself in a full understanding of a certain problem is great, but you know, you might not have the time to do that. So, but obviously the latter, what I've just said there, requires you to trust in another person an extreme amount. But I always say, look, the way I deliver the longevity program is I want to teach the men that I'm training as much as possible. I want them to leave my program with the tools and the mentality to just literally go away and just absorb, you know, whatever demands that they place on their bodies, and know the solutions as well, understand the solutions. I want people to understand what is going on, so then they can solve the problems themselves. And if they don't understand something, I want them to have the ability to ask the right questions to the internet's infinite. It's all of the human knowledge on the internet. And the only way you can navigate this is being able to ask the right questions. One of the biggest things I've learned is being able to ask the internet the right questions. But it's a sad thing to see. You know, I know for a fact, like I worked with a guy yesterday, and his knees in a really bad way, and you know, people go down certain routes of, you know, desperation, go and see a physio. The physio doesn't know what's wrong with his knee. The doctor doesn't know what is wrong with his knee. Nobody has the courage to just help the person. Like, because we live in this culture of pointing fingers. He made my knee worse. He should pay for my surgery. I should get a free 1 hour session because of that. And it's just like, wow. And just being able to eliminate certain issues and figure shit out. You know, people say the knee and the elbow is the complicated joints. They're not. Honestly, they're really not. Very simple joints. They just move in 2 ways. 4 main ligaments on your knee, meniscus either side. Similar with your elbow. Complicated when you start talking about nerves and stuff like that. It's complicated, especially with your shoulder. But like, easy one for you, right? So the amount of times I've and this happens. We've all done this. We've all took somebody else's word for something, and we've believed it. We've just went, you know what? That's the truth. That's what I'm going to believe from now on. And I guarantee you've had arguments with other people about that point of view which wasn't even yours, that you didn't even validate. I'm trying to think of the last time I did this. And I got caught out. I can't remember. I'd love to be able to remember. But there's been times where I've argued the toss off a point that somebody else gave me. I believed it, didn't fact check them, didn't do my own research, and I got caught out. I think it was one of the best leaders I've ever worked with in the army. I remember what he was telling me about a time when he'd done his strength and conditioning degree, and he said that he asked me the question. He went, "What is the most physically demanding sport on the planet?" And he said, "What's number one? What's number two? What's number three?" And obviously this encouraged me to really think. And he said, before I even tried to start thinking about an answer, he said, think about the individual components of fitness and think about the amount of each that's required. How much muscular endurance, how much power, how much strength, how much flexibility, how much agility, how much aerobic fitness, how much anaerobic fitness. All of these different things put together. Upper body coordination, lower body coordination, all of it, everything. And I was like, wow, what a question that is. So I'm thinking like, you know, MMA. He's like, MMA finished in 25 minutes max. 5-minute rounds, they get a rest. He's like, not much aerobic power. Well, aerobic power, yes, not much aerobic endurance. And I'm like, right, okay, I go a completely opposite side. I'm like, adventure marathons. He's like, well, okay, yeah, but not much speed. Do you know what I mean? So then I start like smashing out answers. And the answer he gives me is tennis. Is being number one. And I was like, oh shit, yeah, you know what? When you start to think about it, there's no way that tennis could not be the number one. Now, this was me, I believed what he said to be complete truth. And the amount of times I've asked people this question and really encouraged thinking, and people have given me all the answers to large groups and stuff like that, and I throw it on him, tennis. And then I ended up in an argument with a group of 10 or 20 people, and they're like, why is it tennis? You know, blah, 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 blah. He's like, no, you know, other sports get thrown into the mix. And it was like, prove it. Show me the study. And I'm like, I'm literally on my laptop. I'm literally like, this should be easy to find. Like an analysis on individual components of fitness of different sports. It didn't even exist. You know what I mean? How crazy is the fact that I've believed something to be completely true, and it sounds like it might be true, and the way he explained it to me, I don't know whether it was something that was done at uni. You know, they did the individual testing for different university sports, and it was all like in-house, because it makes sense. And to be honest, I still kind of believe it, but there's just no proof. And I just remember when I was researching, I was really struggling to find this paper. I was like, fuck, like, I've just been schooled, because there's no proof. There's no proof of me believing why I believe what I've just been, like, you know, talking about. And that's a real problem, because there's been other times where I've been completely schooled in a conversation, and this is great because I'm very fortunate, right? I've worked with some unbelievable coaches who've got thousands of hours of experience, right? And in these high performance bubbles, we sometimes jump on each other's sessions, and we're waiting for each other to just have a minor hiccup. Do you know what I mean? Like, for example, the Royal Military Academy Sandhurst, where we were coaches, and we deliver the fitness sessions for the officer cadets that want to join the army in the leadership roles as officers. And it's people that are international as well, people on the worldwide stage. You know, some of the Middle Eastern young lads come across as well, and then go back to serve their armies and their royal families, whatever. Sometimes we work with our mates, obviously we're very close with all these other lads in the training ring, and we jump on each other's sessions, and it's just interesting, because when you jump on your mate's session, who you think the world of, you know he's all over it. We're looking at each other and we're like paying such close attention, because obviously we want we want each other to fail a little bit, because it's just that competitiveness. We want to just have that moment later on with a coffee, like laughing at each other, where you said this when it wasn't true, or he mumbled his words when he was explaining this. Do you know what I mean? And it's funny, it's class, and it's just a high performance type of environment. But there's been many occasions where I've been arguing. I can't remember the one that I was bright red with embarrassment that I believed something somebody said. That was one of them. The tennis one was where I struggled to justify it, because somebody asked me, they were like, "Have you got the paper? Show me the paper." I think it was on a Facebook group or something, and someone was like, "Oh, friggin' hell!" It was like a strength and conditioning science for combat sports or something on Facebook, and I've done like a poll on this, like it's a 500,000 followers or whatever on this Facebook group, and yeah, I'm like, what do you think the most physically demanding sport is? And I've listed, like, I don't know, 6 or 7 different sports, and I give them the answer, and they were like, "Nah, show proof of that." And I couldn't show proof of it, and literally my credibility on that group just went down the drain, because it was quite a science-based group at the time. So yeah, just to wrap this up, obviously a few stories, a bit off the cuff from me today, but I just really want to highlight the importance of just doing your own digging, fact checking what people say, because if you don't, your beliefs are never your own, and that's a real problem. Science the past few years, it's lost a little bit of credibility. Do you know what I mean? So, and obviously the news as well lost a bit of credibility over the past few years. So having the ability just to navigate the internet, there's a lot of information on the internet. It's an amazing thing, but the skill is being able to navigate an abundance of information to serve you. So never take anybody's word for something. Use that word as a guide to guide your own research. I just thought I'd highlight that on this channel, because most of my subscribers, they're absolute nerds, curious minds like myself. But yeah, hope you're all good. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you tomorrow.